Tomorrow is match day at St James's Park as Newcastle United takes on Aston Villa. For me personally, this is the biggest season in my lifetime. Newcastle have so much momentum going into this campaign. We've got back into the Champions League for the first time since 2003. We're coming off the back of a cup final defeat. That's our first cup final since 1999. The last time we won a domestic major honour was 1955. And it's not just the fact we're going into this season with all this coming off last year. It's the fact that now we have an ownership that actually cares about the club. We have an ownership that has a long-term strategy, actual goals where they want to succeed and want to take Newcastle United to being the best club in the world. If you watched the Amazon Prime documentary this morning, you would have heard about that. But I just wanted to kind of start off this video by, well, bigging up this season because I'm so excited. We've got high expectations, I definitely will say. I think the expectations are either going to completely blow up in our face with how high they actually are, or going to go wonders as Eddie Howe once again shocks the world. But for me, anywhere top 6 this season in the league, and we try and win one of the cups or do well in the Champions League. I think that's my personal goals. You guys may agree or disagree with that. But anyway, if you're new around here and you like what you're watching, make sure to get down there, hit that subscribe button. The Aston Villa match reaction will be out tomorrow night, then the vlog will come out on the Sunday morning. You do not want to miss the Aston Villa game. I think we're going to win. I do back us to win this match. If you like the video, make sure to smash the like button. And finally, as for your comments, let me know your score predictions down below. A, your score predictions, and B, actually as well, if you watched the first episode on Amazon Prime, let me know your thoughts about that as well. As I mentioned previously, I was at the Amazon Prime premiere, so I wasn't allowed to talk about the first episode until now, but it is pretty good. I'm sure you guys would have seen it. But finally, before I actually get into all the transfer news in this video, because there's plenty to get to sort out, I wanted to quickly address someone on Twitter yesterday because, well, I'm surprised at how big this reaction's been, because I don't think my tweet's that bad once I explain it. So pretty much after my club shop video yesterday, I posted a caption on Twitter where I was describing how fans now don't have shame of going to the club shop anymore because of the fact Mike Ashley's gone. That was my big, point I'm putting across there. Fans wouldn't spend on the Mike Ashley in the past because all the money goes directly to him. Now, you guys might have figured this out already, but pretty much a lot of people are quite upset due to the fact that they believe I'm comparing Mike Ashley to Saudi Arabia's player. But that's factually incorrect. It's not even true. During COVID-19, when Mike Ashley was still in charge, Castore just came in. They got offered a new contract at Newcastle to be our kit supplier. In that deal, there's actually a lease in the contract where they get Newcastle United's club shop during their time. So even though it's called Newcastle United's club shop, it's actually owned by Castore. All the staff members there are employed by Castore. Castore gets all the money that fans pay in that club shop now. Newcastle United will get a set amount of money from Castore at the start of the season, but Castore, during the season, when you go in there and buy a brand new shirt, Castore actually gets the money, so it's not Saudi Arabia's player. I can't believe I had to address that in a video, but I just thought I'll explain everything because fans are just factually incorrect about the money going directly to Saudi Arabia's player. I mean, who cares anyway? I mean, listen, I'm just a football fan. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I just don't get it. So I thought I'd mention that anyway due to the fact that how many people actually did respond to it. I just feel like I guess I'll have my say and I can just move on. But I'm surprised I got that much traction. I really don't think it's that bad. As for Newcastle United's current squad now, before we get into the transfer side of things, who is available for tomorrow's match? Have we got any injured players coming back? Well, Keith Downey, after attending Eddie Howe's press conference this morning, has confirmed by Eddie Howe's quotes that Joe Willock is still out until September's international break. So not too long, a little setback there in his injury, but thankfully now, because of the fact we're bringing the latest scenario in, you got people like Eddie Anderson, Lewis May that have stepped up. We have a real core in that midfield, and I think honestly we'll be fine until he comes back. Centre half is a bigger concern, but thankfully Fabian Schär is back in the squad for tomorrow's match, so he can play against Aston Villa. I think that's a big one because, well, after Fabian Schär, you got Lascelles, Dummett and Alex Murphy, so still not much there, and I think it's definitely an area that Eddie Howe will target, which we'll get into in just a minute. Centre back seems to be the role that we'll target next, an area that we've left completely blank so far during the window, so it's definitely going to be an instance now where we're going for a player. We'll try and get someone on a deal, and it's also being explained by Eddie Howe in the press conference this morning that there's not much money left on the table, so it's about being smart. Are we going to utilise the loan market? Is it going to be staggered payments? So let's say you buy someone for £20 million. It's going to be a case where you pay them £6 to £7 million per season for 3 years. It's just one where they're trying to spread the money across, so under financial fair play they can recuperate what they need to. but it's not sufficient for us to sell someone else to buy someone in. It has to be now that we've got the money left available, we can get someone in. So it's going to be a bit tricky to see how it works. I don't know exactly how much money we've got on the table. Maybe Eddie Howe's playing the media and all of a sudden we're going to splash loads of money on someone. But I definitely think it's, you take it with a pinch of salt. We will get our deal done. I'll be shocked if we don't bring the centre-half. I think the club is definitely aware of its squad that it has to bring a centre-half in. So I'm sure we're going to do it. But as for what targets now, well, let me show you. As for what potential centre-back options Newcastle United have to work with, Craig Hope actually stuck on a list today of Newcastle's targets that they will be looking at. Toby will be number one. He used to play for Barcelona, I remember that part. So he's a 23-year-old centre-half now playing for Nice. Of course, he's just been at St James's Park for the Cellar Cup, so it seems quite plausible that Newcastle would scout him during the game since he's playing on our ground. Makes quite logical sense, so I definitely do agree that he would be one of the targets. For me, I don't know much about the guy. I haven't watched him, to be fair, and that goes with the majority of players on this list. But if it's a loan deal or someone where he's not going to cost much money, I definitely think it's an option Newcastle should be looking at. Tassoba is the second option on that list. So that is a 24-year-old centre-half that has played exactly 100 games for Bayer Leverkusen. Again, someone that I can't say I've watched on a daily basis, but definitely someone Newcastle, I would say, even at 24, is experienced. I think for the kind of player you want to bring in to be a backup to Fabian Shaw, if not, someone's going to be pushing him out of the team potentially. He's the sort of individual I think would be smart to look at. Demi Shears is the third option, a Dutch centre-half that is playing for Torino. Alongside Botman, the Dutch duel, imagine that now. I feel like the impression anyway I got from the likes of Tonali that we signed, that Serie A players just seem to be cheaper to buy. I think players from the Italian league, I don't know what it is, it just seems to be a tax there where players are just easier to bring in. So it would be wise for Newcastle under a strict budget where if he's a cheap player, we can bring him on a good deal. Newcastle will take the option and bring the guy in. Anderson, we've already spoken about to length in a few of my videos, the Crystal Palace centre-half, a name that does not seem to go away. Someone that is already experienced in the Premier League, someone that I've watched quite a lot. I do like Anderson. I think he's solid. I think he's someone that Newcastle would be wise to buy. I think he's definitely someone that would improve our team, and he's someone there, as I mentioned before, the previous guy about Fabian Shaw needing that rest time or needing someone to give him competition. I think with the two centre-halves, with the fact that Dummett, Lascelles and Alex Murphy, the guys behind him, you need somebody in there that's going to give those two competition. Last thing you're going to do is for those two to turn up to the training ground, knowing full well they're going to start the weekend and all of a sudden don't give 100%. You definitely need that competition there. And in moments notice, Eddie Howe can just go, Shaw, you're out for the weekend, Anderson, you're in. I think he's the sort of player that can do that. Cosano is the fifth option on Craig Hope's list for Newcastle United centre-halves. Someone that's 22 years old. I can't say much more about him. Again, I know absolutely nothing about this guy. And finally, we have Antonio Silva, who is a 19-year-old centre-back playing for Benfica. So quite a wide range of centre-halves, different areas of age, different areas you would assume in terms of their role at the club. Some of them will probably come in potentially even try and get ahead of Shaw in some of the matches, or some of them might just come in be someone that's going to gradually grow over time. So quite a few different options available at Newcastle, quite a smart list of choices. Which one I'm going to make, I don't know. It will depend on the budget. I think that's definitely why it is such a wide range as well, due to the fact that we are unsure how much money we want to spend, we're unsure how to structure a deal. A lot of questions are in the air, and unfortunately in this video you guys might want the answer to that question, but I just can't give you to them. I can only report on what I've seen online. And to be fair, I think Newcastle will get a centre-half in, I just don't know who. There's a lot of options there. Could even be someone that Craig Hope hasn't listed, so there's all sorts of different players out there. There's all sorts of different levels of ability that Newcastle will need to target. It's definitely wise we do that, and we will do that. It's just a simple answer. I'd be shocked if we come out of this transfer window outside the centre-half. It's just such a key area of the pitch that we haven't looked at yet. And it will be wise for Newcastle to do that move. So I thought I'd address that anyway. Good chance in the video to talk about some of the players. Apologies, I haven't got the best jumbo knowledge on them. I'm pretty sure it's the same with everyone. I mean, there's nobody here has watched all 6 of these players. There's no chance in hell that's happened. But I thought I'd try my best to come across and promote them somewhat anyway. But it's probably best that we all do our own research and then come to our own conclusion, which Newcastle have got those scouts to do that. So it's not my job to kind of go first, it's my job to report. But I appreciate you watching anyway, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. As I mentioned previously, we have Premier League football tonight, and tomorrow we got Burnley versus City tonight. Definitely a game you should be watching. We're playing Man City away next week. I'm hoping City destroy Burnley tonight and we can catch them off guard next week. But it's going to be an interesting game regardless, and we have Aston Villa tomorrow. Fingers crossed would be in the past if I was a Newcastle United fan, but now it is confidence. I am confident we will beat Villa tomorrow. I think on paper we have a better team than them. I think our players are ready, they're eager to go. And I think for what we can do, any team at St James's Park, they will struggle. And for any team as well, coming to St James's Park will be a hard game. No longer is it a 3 points, let's just go there and go home. Now they've got to come, they've got to graft, and only the best of the best come there and get 3 points. So it's going to be great. I can't wait for it. Appreciate you guys watching anyway. You all take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the first game of the Premier League season.